magnetic gaze system has created quite a stir lately, but I've noticed that its effects and its objectives are quite misunderstood. For that reason, this video was created. I want you to understand the full power of magnetic gaze and what exactly can you do with it and why should you invest the effort in order to develop it. On the Magnetic Gaze Foundations course, I explained the following pyramid of what you can do with the gaze. On the lower levels, we see it mostly as a complement of your communication skills and to inspire and influence people. On higher levels, we use it to connect more deeply and authentically with others, as well as to connect with deeper layers of your being. So in other words, you can use it as a simple communication tool, something to increase your personal magnetism, or you can also use it as a full esoteric road to explore your several energetic qualities, different types of energies, and mind much more deeply. The interesting thing is, this is not a choice that you need to make. By following the full magnetic gaze curriculum, you'll actually get both. If you're only interested in the superficial levels, you can just stick with the first couple of magnetic gaze levels that will have a very good personal magnetism and magnetic eyes. Now I'll explain a little bit more carefully. The first goal of the magnetic gaze is to complement your communication skills. And this is a more superficial level since you won't need to dive as deeply into the energy practices and teachings. Just by developing some part of your attention energy and doing the eye exercises and exercise on the will, you'll notice these effects. Your personal magnetism increases, you become much more convincing and intense in your communications, others will listen to you, your gaze starts to stand out more. This first level was taught by the early masters to door-to-door cheese salesmen. Remember, it was many years ago. In order that they need to sell more. They didn't really care about the energy development, or the personal magnetism, or having powerful eyes. They just wanted to sell more. And they achieved this with the first magnetic gaze level. This is enough to gain a good enough level of influence over other people. Now, to really gain a very good ability to influence and inspire, most of the first 3 levels of the magnetic gaze will handle this. You go much deeper into the energy mechanics of the influence, especially on level 2 and 3. You'll learn how you can actually use different energy systems in a way of influencing. In the old days, these techniques of the magnetic gaze were used by the traveling swamis to gather more followers and disciples. They would fascinate the followers in a way that they would leave everything just to follow the guru. In the older Hermetic texts, these are reports of magnetic gaze being used in ancient Egypt. In the West, this was also used by the snake oil salesmen, those traveling salesmen who sold the cure for everything. It was also used in the old royal courts by people who wished to be in good graces of the kings and princes. This is where the magnetic gaze started to get more attention, and hence the symbol starting to be used more frequently, like for example the Eye of the Illuminati. To get a more powerful effect, you need to develop certain energy, gaze and will characteristics that are not as obvious from level 1 foundations course, but they will get much more in detail in levels 2 and 3. The next level is using it to connect with others, your significant other, your family, your friends. Now that you already have powerful eyes and you can naturally influence, you can also use the gaze to connect deeply with other people. It's a great tool to use if you just want to show everyone what you're really feeling and to understand what are they feeling. Eye contact is a pure form of communication, and this part requires the development of the soul of the eye and learning about your own emotions. I'm sure we've all heard that saying that eyes are the mirror of the soul. Well, they can truly reflect your emotions. You can see love, rage, lust, and many other emotions in the eyes of someone. They can speak when nothing else speaks. If you are really attentive and sensitive, you can really get to know someone just from his or her eyes. They can be quite revealing when you pay attention. When you first look at someone's eyes, on a first split second, there's actually quite a deep and profound contact where you get a feeling about this person, which can be good or bad depending on the person. And on this moment, you can deeply know someone, but immediately after that, your rational mind takes over and you start labeling him or her according to your own mental stereotype, so that profound contact is gone. Level 2 starts with some part of connection with others, but it's only on the more advanced levels that we go deeply into it. Contrary to popular belief, this will be harder to do with the gaze than the normal everyday influence, hence we're developing the power first, and only then we can develop the true and authentic connection. Another more hidden and profound application is to connect to deeper layers of your being. But this is only when the magnetic gaze is fully interiorized in yourself, meaning when the magnetic gaze becomes a part of you. Only then you can begin to explore these more profound layers that have deep impact into your whole self. You can access these layers through energy mastery and meditation. You become aware and you can control and manipulate energy currents of your body that can be used for all sorts of practices and effects, both internal and external. Our preferred way of meditation is called Tortak, and this is an elaborate and intense practice that is only available on the advanced levels of magnetic gaze. This is something that goes beyond influence and personal magnetism. Your eyes will naturally have a different and more profound effect on the outside once you start with your Tortak practice. Now, with this said, you don't require going up the pyramid, so to speak. Maybe for you it's enough to just stick with a personal influence that a few basic practices will bring you, or maybe to attract the opposite sex, or to complement your communication skills, and that's perfectly alright. For me it was different, because I fell in love with the powers of the gaze, and I wanted their full expression and potential. The best part is, you can decide what you want, and just develop that power until you get there. It's really up to you. The magnetic gaze system is a very complete one for energy, communication, and esoteric development. So to start developing your gaze, take a look at the Magnetic Gaze Level 1 Foundations course at magneticgaze.com. See you soon.